teams you play score very quickly, and you guys run the ball well, so you hold it a little longer. Given that your defense isn't on the field all the time all that much, could you afford to have your fastest guys on your defense play on all your coverage teams and special teams?
A lot of them do, and if they're not on the first team, a lot of them are on their second team. I told Clint after throwing it up this past weekend, that all hands are on deck, put whoever you want out there. So he knows he's got a free rein to put whoever out there. He doesn't have to ask for my permission. Whoever he wants out there, he thinks gives him the best chance, because I saw enough of that myself too. We're on the same page there, Tom.
I think a couple of you guys said starters are only allowed to be on 2 special teams units. Is that off the table too now?
All hands on deck.
So does it boil down to personnel then? I mean, is the problems, after being able to watch the tape on special teams?
Let's not just blame it on the players, because the easiest thing to do is just take the players and throw them under the bus and say, yeah, it's all their fault. Yeah, we put them right in the right spot, they just didn't make a play. Now, to be honest with you, there are times you just, you got 4 guys there, you got 1 guy. There are times there you just have to go make the play. Okay, but there's leverage issues. There's a number of other things that come into play, and there's always things schematically that you can try to put people in a better position to make the play. So it's a combination of the two. But on special teams, very often it comes down to just a guy making a play. You're there, the field, you're covering the whole field, you're there, and we go ahead and, you have to make one, whether it's a kickoff return or a punt return or whatever it ends up being. Sometimes, it's one-on-one, you beat a block, and now you got to go make the play.
Seems like you said special teams were the area where a rebuilding team could improve the quickest. Is it also the area where maybe a team can get exposed athletically, you're not at the same levels?
Well, also, probably one of the things that came into play the most is we've been very inconsistent at the specialist position to start off with. And, a lot of times special teams get noticed more when you're not getting a lot of production out of the specialists. For example, on kickoff return, how many games have we gone to where every kick they kick's a touchback? Well, you don't have to worry about your kickoff return. You don't have to worry about your kickoff coverage then. You and I could go run down there. Because if the ball's going to be kicked out of the end zone and it's a touchback, then you don't get exposed to that situation. So it starts with the specialists and it goes from there, and they all come into play. Maybe not you and I, Austin. We might have been a better example than that. Yeah, okay.
What's the status of your quarterbacks?
We're going to start Cummings. And so you'll take the infamous "or" will be off when you get your list right there. I'm just trying to keep you guys from tweeting the whole time. Because if I go, you're probably tweeting right now, right, Kirby? You're already on it? But, I just figured I'd rather you hear from me, than read it on a piece of paper and then you're putting it out there. We're going to start Michael, and we'll see how it goes. I'm not listening to Zor. They've both been told that. They both know that Michael's starting, and we'll see where it goes. But I think that at this point, when you won 6 and things haven't gone real well, I think you owe it to your team to see what you got.
What did he show you that helped you reach that decision, or was it what you just did?
The game wasn't too big for him down in Oklahoma. Now, of course, I didn't throw the playbook at him. And, everyone says, well, why don't you do more? Why don't you do more? Well, I don't want to get the kid killed either. Anytime you're starting with an inexperienced quarterback, it's probably a good idea to kind of protect him some. But we'll do a little bit more with him this week than we did last week, obviously. When you score 7 points, that's not good enough no matter who you're playing. So you got to give your team a chance to score more points than that. But at the same time, they're averaging 44 points a game. So the last thing I want to do is have our defense go 3 and out 100 times and have our defense on the field all game.
Will you still have some packages for Dane like we saw last week, or is
he'll know from the calls we have that we've already devised for right now we got first and second down now. So he'll know today, like, if you're in the game, here's the plays that we'll call. He'll know those today. And then Mike will know, basically, these are plays that that we would call for you, and some of those are the same plays. There are some of them that are the same, but then there's some of them that are, the foundation of the call sheet, though, has to start with the guy you're playing. You don't start it with the second guy, you start with the first guy. But you make sure you have, ammo in there, so when you're playing the other guy, they're set and ready to go. And we do a fairly good job, between me and Ron, of making sure they're up to speed, and there's no hidden agendas or anything like that.
Will Dane still be one of the captains this week?
Pardon me?
Will Dane still be one of the?
He's a captain. Those captains have been voted by the team. The captains are captains. They don't change.
You said a lot during the preseason and off-season that, it'd be a really cool thing if Dane had a good year, as much for, you guys and your chance to win as for him. Are you able to pinpoint why it hasn't worked out for him?
Well, the season's not over yet, but I think that right now, he's disappointed, I'm disappointed, we're disappointed. Okay, but really, I'm the head coach of Kansas. And my job, my job is to make sure that I put our football team in an upward spiral, not a downward spiral. And if status quo doesn't show any improvement, then you have to find some way to make improvements. And this is one of the ways. Hey, at left guard, when you get your sheet, you're going to see Zlatnik or Damon Martin. Not Zlatnik and Damon Martin. Because if you went based off the game the other day, you might play Damon Martin first. Okay, you're going to see Chris Amigi as the first Z. Okay, because based on how he played the other day, now granted we didn't throw it to him a whole bunch, but based on how he played the other day, he deserves to be the first Z. So I think that our coaching staff doesn't sit still and just sit there and play people because they're entitled. I think we try our best to put our team in the best position.
7 games into the season, you don't have a wide receiver touchdown. Is that an accurate reflection of the talent at wide receiver? Or
You could say it's a reflection of the passing game, of which the wide receivers certainly are a major component of. There's been times they've been open that we've missed them. There are times that they've been open and they've dropped the ball. So there's been opportunities. There's been opportunities for touchdowns to be had that haven't taken place. But let's not just hang them. Once again, I'm not throwing to the bus guy. That's the last thing. Are they a part of the problem? Yes. Okay, but they don't stand alone.
What's Damon's status this week?
He's still in that, questionable range. So until he's out of questionable range, I'm going to list him as if he's not playing. And the only way he'll come into play is, once again, head injuries are not something you mess with. And if he meets with the doctors and says he's still woozy or has headaches, what am I going to say? No, you don't have a headache? That's not something you play with. Now, if this was 20 years ago, you'd say tough, get out there and go. And that's one of the why there's issues like there are today.
How do you feel like some of the younger guys who got playing time last week? How do you feel like they did?
Well, it depends on who they are, but I'll say Damon for one. Actually, in that drive that he was in, he played really well. He wasn't playing against some bum now, he played physical, and the reason why we considered playing him, he was one of those guys that we wanted to consider playing. And the reason why we did that was mainly because of how he's looked in practice. If you would have asked me last spring if I'd see him play in the game, I would have given you a lot of odds that he wouldn't be seeing the field even this year. But he's gotten better and better and put himself into the mix. So each guy is unique. Every position is different. But there are guys that we see getting better and better and better that we think that can help us.
With Damon, what's probably the biggest thing he's improved on since the spring?
Well, he was already strength, but he didn't play to his strength. So it's one thing when you have, strength, but then you play like a slug. You know, but when you start figuring it out mentally, then you play to your strength. Where you're out there, instead of thinking about plays, you already know what to do, that'll let you play different. It's no different than with a skilled guy that a young wide receiver that knows what he's doing, runs a lot faster than when he doesn't know what he's doing. Because when he's thinking about it, he doesn't run nearly the same as when he can just turn it and let it loose.
That same concept applies to where Corey Shepard is right now?
You see now, Ja'Cory, you know, we went back, after we made that trade, you know, for draft choices and conditions, you know, and he went over to the defense, he got better and better. And to be honest with you, some of the young guys we've seen, you know, in practice every day, you know, the Greg Allens and the Tevin Shaws and the Tyree Williams, I mean, they're, you know, the Naz Moores, they get better every day too. Okay, but, you know, they're in a position where the dividends with those guys will be paid down the line. They're not, the dividends aren't be paid now. Now, Ja'Cory, on the other hand, he looked the most ready to play. That's why he's playing. And, you know, since he's got over there and you know, he's always around the receiver. Now, the next phase is to be making plays on the ball.
Was that just an unbelievable throw by Landry Jones? Was that real good coverage there?
I mean, he's right there. I mean, it'd be one thing if he's getting outrun by 5. He wasn't outrun by 2 yards. I mean, he's right there. But, you know, once again, I think that with experience, you, instead of being there, you're making a play on the ball instead of making a play on the wide receiver. And I think that he has the ability where I think we could eventually see him being pretty solid at doing that. Just the fact that he was right there with a 44-yard throw, you know, that was right on the money. You know, it's good he's there. Now you got to finish it off.
With your struggles at the wide receiver position, any chance you want to?
Tony question?
No. No, I was going to see if you wanted him back. If you wanted Ja'Cory back on the offense.
I think that right now he's basically playing a third grade. So when we go to nickel, he's a starter right now. You know, so when he goes in there, Papin's been moving inside and he's out there. So really, with as much nickel as you play, you know, he's like a starter now on defense. So no, I'm not pulling him back. I'm not taking a starter on defense to help out the offense.
So what about Tony? How's he doing?
His elbow is better. He played. What did we give him, about 14, 15 carries last week? I mean, you know, he touched the ball enough, and we'll try to get him the ball some more this week.
But he felt good after the game. He didn't have any.
No, as a matter of fact, he felt better. So I think he was a little afraid, to tell you the truth. You know, because I think he was a little afraid of what was going to happen the first time he got hit. So, I mean, I know he said to my kid, because he's very close with my son, he said that he just needs to go out there and get hit a couple of times. And he didn't say that to me. That's not a conversation I'll have with me. But I think that a lot of times that's what they want to do after they got banged up some, so they know that everything's okay.
Is Jermaine done with this, your guys with the future?
He'll be one of those or he'll be one of those guys that in some packages this week he'll be a first guy. You know, here's a guy who has made some plays in the pass game, but hasn't been as productive as the other guys in the running game. And because we've been a run first team, you know, you better put the best blocker out there first. You know, so that's what we've been doing. Out of the 3 guys, the guy who blocks the best is mine. You know, Jermaine probably the guy who catches the best. You know, but with as much running, I mean, would we run it 60 times and throw it 30 times? I mean, it was something along those lines. You better put the guy who can block at the point, because if not, we'll be in for a long, hard day. And he just needs to keep working on that.
Charlie, it seemed like the expectation, at least externally, was with your background on offense and some of the pieces you had on offense, that KU would be a team that maybe would take some lumps on defense, but could score some points on offense. Would you have expected to be further along offensively than you are?
Well, I think that, you know, I explained to you, let me make sure I answer this the right way so it doesn't look like an excuse. you have to play complementary football. Okay, when you're looking at Texas and you're looking at Kansas, you see more good athletes on Texas than Kansas. So to play complementary football, I could probably put us in a position to score more points, but it would have to be more wide open, and it wouldn't be heavily running the football, okay? So now you also put yourself out for a lot more turnovers and a lot more bad things that could happen. So I think as you're growing your program, this is my first year here, you say, okay, what's your greatest strength on offense? And right now, clearly our greatest strength is our running game. I mean, no one would refute that. So one of the things you do is by running the football, you build toughness with your team, and you don't put your defense out on the field nearly as much as they would be. So it's part of the growing process. Now, I could go wide open, and we could sling it all over the yard. You know what? We might score 28 and give up 80. You know, but that's not the style of football I don't think anyone from Kansas really wants to see. Starting with yours truly.
Do you have to coach them up much this week?
Pardon me?
Do you have to coach the guys up much this week?
Do I have to do what?
Coach them up? Try and pick the spirits up after that kind of loss?
You mean psychologically?
Yeah.
I mean, we did that, that was Sunday.
Which
That's what we do on Sunday, because what happens, if you wait till Tuesday to do that, then they were sitting around for 48 hours sulking. And then you just wasted 48 hours. You know, that's what you have to do on Sunday. Let me tell you something, Saturday nights aren't so easy for yours truly, because I have to figure out what my tactic is gonna be the next day. And it's not just with the players, in case you're wondering. Okay, it's with the coaches, it's with the support staff, it's with everyone else you run into. You have to be able. Like, he sees me about 3:30, 3:45 in the afternoon when we have to do a TV show. He'll tell you I'm the same every day. I'm the same every single day. I mean, I never change. It doesn't make a difference if things went well or things didn't go well. But one of the things I have to, now that I wasn't always like that now. You know, it's something you as you get older and more experienced, you learn how to be more even keel with what you do. And then you also have to figure out, well, how bad is he versus how bad is he? So what am I gonna have to do to help him out versus what am I gonna do to help him out? But I think that by the time they leave the building on Sunday, they have to be ready to move on. And usually by practicing on Sunday, that really takes care of the majority of the problems.
Really, halfway through kind of your first Big 12 season, has your outlook changed on things you guys need to do to get better in the big picture in the long run? I mean,
No, I think we know what we have to do. We just, we have to coach the heck out of the guys we have, and then we have to go get more players. That's really a very simple process. I don't think it's a question of whether or not, with the experience that we have on our coaching staff, I think I have a very quality coaching staff. I think that we know what we have to do with the guys that are here, and we also know that we need to recruit more good players. So that we can put ourselves in a better position. That's what we need to do. It's a combination. Recruiting is the lifeline. Okay, development of your own players and recruiting. That's it. It really, it's not a question of whether or not we know what to do X's and O's. I'd love to be able to do what Oklahoma did last week. Let's line up in one front and one coverage and just play it on every down. Okay, sit back there and eat a hot dog and drink a soda. Let's play even double time, cover 4 stick. Every single snap. And once in a while, let's play one just for the heck of it. Just for the big wrinkle. You could have called the game for them last week. With what they played, you could have called the game. And the thing about it, you knew what they were going to do, and we knew what they were going to do. So we both knew what they were going to do. And they just did it a lot better than we did. So this isn't a question of whether or not we're smart enough to figure out what they're going to do and what to do against it. Sometimes, you better go get some Jimmys and Joes. It might help you just a tad.
is that a difficult balance to strike about being honest where you guys are and also having to tend to a roster of guys that are in the locker room right now?
No, because you have a responsibility to your own guys to develop them as much as you possibly can. Now, some guys will have ceilings. Some guys aren't even close to their ceilings. They're the ones you're counting on. You know, we got some players that you say, hey, they could be really good players. You know, not just okay players, they could be really good. Some players we have are just gonna be okay players. That's what they are. You know, that's what I was. You wanna know something? I wasn't even okay. I would like to have been where some of these people are. But I know our responsibility, you take every one of those guys and try to make them the best they could possibly be. And you even try to push them past that level, and then go get more.
McKay is not eligible this year, but have you seen enough of him to know what you have there?
A big drastic improvement. I was a little bit concerned in the spring, because to me, he looked just a little bit like another guy. He looked like another guy. But what happened was, he was in the tank about this whole eligibility thing, which we ended up losing out on. Okay, but now his best buddy is Jake Heaps now. I mean, they're tied at the hip. I mean, and I can understand why there's a rapport there. We might have the best rapport for two guys not playing in the entire country. I mean, because they're two really good players, and now you watch them. I compare some of the starters to the other teams. I'll say, well, he's a poor man's Justin McKay. So I obviously think that Justin has made great progress, but in the spring I couldn't have said that to you, because he just looked to me like he was another guy. And I said, where's this guy that I remember? And I would say that to him often. And maybe a little different vernacular, but I would say that to him.
Looking kind of long-term, what does Michael stand to gain from these last few games, knowing that you are going to have competition coming in the quarterback? Can he set himself up with the way he plays these last few games to be in that mix?
Well, I think that, we got a lot of factors at the quarterback position, but let's just take Jake as one. Okay, Michael sees Jake every Sunday. And it's as encouraging as it is for me, for those guys right there, they know they have their work cut out if they're going to beat him out. They know that. They see it every Sunday. Because every Sunday he and Justin are treated just like everybody else. One day a week. One day a week they get to be like everybody else. And they see it. So I think the more experience he can get, the better off he'll be. Because he wants it to be his job. He doesn't want it to be, somebody else's job. He doesn't want it to be Jake's job. He doesn't want it to be Turner's job. He doesn't want it to be those high school kids we got coming in who I can't mention. He wants it to be his job. But I tell you what, on Sundays, he gets to see what he's competing with. And he's got his work cut out for him.
How important are the Sunday practices for just the player development and morale of that?
Campo told me on Sunday that he did as much coaching this Sunday as he's done at any practice the entire year. He said, that's a good practice. Because we spent a lot of individual time and a lot of group time, and not as much team time as we've been going on Sundays to really work on the things that we're not very good at. And they've been a big help. And going back to the question before, I forget whose, but psychologically, practicing on Sunday kind of gets the feeling sorry for yourself out of the way.
What is your history with Mac Brown? It seems like you guys have known each other for a while. When did you guys kind of first meet, and how long have you known him?
Actually, we've known each other, for a long time, and and our wives have met, and his wife's a horse person, and my wife's a horse person. Don't ever hook up wives that are horse people, by the way. It's not a good thing. But we've talked about a lot of things over the years, and I'm a big fan. I'd rather leave some of the personal stuff out of it, but I'm a big fan.
You had a lot of success elsewhere recruiting the wide receiver position. You think you can get those type of guys to come to Kansas?
Well, see, we're recruiting two different types of players right now. You know, we're recruiting some high school kids and we're recruiting some junior college kids. And, you know, I think we need to have a blend of both of them. And you're looking for different things out of those players. But I think that between the two of them, I think we can answer the call. And I think that's gonna kind of be the mode of operation in every position. You know, let's get the high school guys that we can develop and get ready to rock and roll. High school guys with high ceiling that could end up being as good as anybody, but guys that want to come to Kansas. You know, not the guys that, I have 93 offers. Who cares? Do you want to come to Kansas? Do you want to be a part of this? Do you want to be a part of the reason why we went from not very good to good? You know, and then with the junior college kid, you say you want to play. You know, you say you want to play, right? Well, if you can't play here, where are you playing? The kid, well, I'm recruited by Alabama. Yeah? Have you looked at the roster? Have you taken a peek? You're going there to start, right? You know, you'd be surprised how quickly you can get them on your side. I mean, you people laugh when we say that. I mean, but let's think about it. If you're a junior college player, okay, whether you're an offensive player or a defensive player, okay, and you want to go somewhere where it's a good school with great facilities, okay, well, you know, everything about the town is wonderful. The town's just waiting for the team to win in football. You get a chance to be a part of it. You get coached by, you know, on the offensive side of the ball by a guy who's done it for a long time, or defensive side of the ball by a guy who's done it even longer. I mean, it really is not that tough a decision if you really think about it. Where everyone says, well, how are they going to get them? Why wouldn't they come here? It almost doesn't make sense to not come. So I look at it totally different than everyone. Everyone is, oh God, what's going to happen in recruiting? We're going to go get a bunch of good players. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. It's going to happen like that every year.
That pitch works even better with junior college players.
It's a different conversation.
Yeah.
You know, it's a different conversation. One conversation is one, and one conversation is the other. They're not, and it's not a pitch. It's just, I don't believe in being a salesman. I believe in representing the school in our program. Here's where we are. Here's where you are. Okay, does that fit? Because if it doesn't fit, don't come.
At the junior college level, is there a certain, group of positions you're really targeting this year?
Every. You can throw out quarterback. Okay. Tell me who the best player is at a position we're interested.
Running back?
I think that we would take possibly one running back, possibly one. But when you return everybody at your best position, it's not really a position of need. We have bigger needs. How about a kicker? Let me start there.
What do you want to see out of these last 5 games?
Well, first of all, we still have to go win a conference game. Okay, that would lift my spirits in case you're wondering. And then the other thing that I really think that would be important for us is to go beat somebody on the road. I don't know if we're going to do either one of those things the way we played last week. But I know one thing, they're going to play hard. They're going to play hard for 60 minutes for 5 games, even if things go bad. Okay, they're going to play hard. Okay, we just have to play better, and we have to coach better, and we have to develop our players, and they have to develop. And at the end of the year, they got to be better than they are right now. They have to be better football players than they are right now. They can't be stagnant.